Noah asks a good question. I was wondering if you had any weighted carry specific challenge ideas that are similar to the 10,000 swing challenge. Just something to be repeated every year for the physical and mental challenge and reap the benefits of frequent heavy practice with this movement pattern. To keep it similar, the time frame could be a month or so. Any ideas would be greatly appreciated. Well, loaded carries should be done every workout and always vary time and always vary weight and always vary distance. And if you can, always vary the different one you're doing. So there's waiter walks, rack walks, suitcase carry, farmer walks, one weight up and one weight down, crosswalks, drag sleds, walk backwards with sleds, carry sandbags, carry rocks, deadlift carry, front rack carry, military press carry. I mean, there's just so many. I do have two. Now, one of them became famous. Some guy named Arnold something or other quoted me in their post a few weeks ago, and it got a life of its own. This workout is called the sparhawk or the sparhawk, and I'll explain this one first and then where it comes from. It's basically you take a single kettlebell and you do 8 goblet squats, and then you do a suitcase carry with one side. You go, you walk, 20 meters, 100 feet, doesn't matter. You stop and use 7 goblet squats. Walk back in the opposite hand, 6, walk back 5, walk back 4, walk back 3, walk back 2, walk back 1, and done. So you do goblet squats, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mixed with suitcase carries. And just finishing the workout is all you need to do. It's one of those workouts, frankly, it doesn't sound like a lot. It really doesn't. But one of the things you'll pick up on is just having load and having to, so when you have load, you're also doing 2 things I call moving planks. And a moving plank is like a goblet squat, overhead squat, suitcase carry. When you're doing the suitcase carry, you are planking the whole time, counterbalancing that load there. When you're doing goblet squats, you're planking so you don't drift over too far, okay, and drop the load. So, if you decide to extend that, that is really a good challenge. Let's get back to the original big challenge I had, and it's called the Eagle, and it was based on the mascot of the school I was teaching at the time. The Eagle's tough, and it is tough. In this case, I would be real strict on the measurement. I said 20 meters at the time. 20 meters for my American friends, 65 to 70 feet. 66, but don't worry about it. Double 24 kilo bells. And this is tough. It's tough. So you start off 8 double kettlebell front squats with a 24s. Drop your hands down. Farmer walk it to the other side, to the 20 meters. Turn around, 8 double kettlebell front squats. Come back, 8 double kettlebell front squats. So the joke, well, it's not a joke, it's true, but you rest your grip while you're doing those double kettlebell front squats, and you rest your thighs while you're doing the farmer walks. You do 8 rounds of this. So it is 64 double kettlebell front squats. And I don't know how many, 8 times 20. That's 160 meters of front squats. And here's the rule. You can't put the weight down. If you put the load down, the workout is over. I had a high school boy do this with the double 48s. Now, this kid was an engine. But next time you get a chance, gentle listener, double 48s as a teenager, 8 front squats by itself. That's why sometimes when I'm online and, someone's trying to tell me they did so, or they're trying to brag about doing something impressive. Once you've seen a teenage boy do double 48s for 8 front squats, that's impressive. But then to walk and then end up doing 64, that's some impressive work. And there you go. So one thing, Noah, my thought was, if you were to test yourself on the Eagle and the Sparrowhawk over a month and build up and get just the double 24s, I think that would be a marvelous test for any listener. The Eagle is by itself one of the best tests I've ever done in my life. And most of my athletes who've done it, and a lot have done it, they'll tell you this: I could have stopped at 3 rounds or 4 rounds, but I just wanted to do it. The weird thing about this workout is that it is a mental challenge, like the 10,000 swing challenge. The 10,000 swing challenge, using the 24, 500 swings a day for 20 straight days, or 4 weeks, however it works out. It's just hard. It's not one set of swings is hard, not one day is hard. It's coming back doing 20 500 swing workouts in a compressed period. I'm sure a lot of our listeners can probably pop up right now and go nail that the Eagle and do it properly. All 64 front squats, all the walking, and not put the load down. But a lot of you will get to rep number 5 in that first round of front squats and say, I need to prepare for this. So I'm just spitballing here, Noah, but that might be a really good challenge for you to step up to. The Eagle. Double kettlebells, 24K each, 8 front squats, 20 meters, farmer walk 8 times. It's tough. And it doesn't get easier. Round 6 is awful. Round 7 and 8 are better because you're almost done. Rounds 5 and 6, when you're over halfway, but you're still getting kind of beaten down. It's a tough workout. No, good question. And let me know what you think. Thank you. Trevor asked a question, and it's interesting, Trevor, thank you, because after we had a question earlier about my books, and Trevor's now asking another book question, and that means a lot. Just curious, the top 3 books you have ever read that had the most influence on your philosophy and thought development. Doesn't have to be fitness related. Let's go in 2 directions here. So behind my copy of the Easy Strength Omni book is, of course, my copy of The Sword and the Stone. T.H. White's The Sword and the Stone. I was not a reader. I was really not a great reader. And when I went to the Orange Library there in South San Francisco when I was in the 8th grade, I picked up 3 books. One of them is right there, 7 Days to Sunday by Elliot Asanoff. And on Wednesday, we meet Kenny Avery, who I read his thing and that's when I became a discus thrower. A book over here by Miles Callum. Who can miss it? It's in there. It was called Bodybuilding and Self-Defense. And then the 3rd book I picked, as I was walking out, the librarian suggested The Sword and the Stone. It's interesting because those are the 3 books that changed my life. I went home with those 3 books and they changed my life. So life-changing books for me. And by the way, I go into great detail on that on my book, okay? Sword and the Stone, T.H. White, Miles Callum's Bodybuilding Self-Defense. I'm sure there was better books. The Bosco books would have been better. 7 Days to Sunday, Elliot Asanoff. I will keep The Sword and the Stone on my list always when I say my 3 books. But later, when I got to college, I took a deep dive into Beowulf. This is interesting. This is my first published article, Conservation in Detail, a new look at the Beowulf poet. And it's my first published article. This is my what I read at the Rocky Mountain Conference on British Studies. But Beowulf was a massive game changer for me. Now, obviously, I've written in depth about both The Sword and the Stone for years on my Wandering Weights newsletter, which comes out every week. I did this overview of The Sword and the Stone. And I think I wrote 250,000 words on The Sword and the Stone, which is a lot of writing. On Beowulf, I've published one article, and then I've given a lot of lectures on Beowulf. And then the 3rd book in this is The Epic of Gilgamesh. Now, I first read the Epic of Gilgamesh in its entirety when I first got back from the Middle East. I think it was 1987 is when I first read it. And a lot of people say there's always parallels to the Bible and stuff like that. But I just fell in love with the entire epic. As I take the big view of what we consider Western civilization, you can see it in the Epic of Gilgamesh. So I've given you two different lists, the 8th grade list, and then the books I keep coming back to, the Sword and the Stone, Beowulf, and Gilgamesh. And now the 3 books I think that would be the modern classics, okay? Let's just keep the Sword and the Stone up there. And these next 2, if you know me. And it's funny because you asked me about influence my philosophy and thought development. And you would think that I'd have Spinoza in there. Ooh, I'm a big fan of Spinoza. Wittgenstein in there. I'm a huge fan of Wittgenstein. In fact, a lot of people just say that Wittgenstein just read Spinoza and went, yeah, of course. I don't agree with that. But the 3 books would be The Sword and the Stone. And then the other 2, if you read them, it would make sense. And of course, that's The Godfather. The book is, I just think it's a classic. It is, the book is amazing. Obviously, the movie, The Godfather, I would say the first half of the book is almost a paragraph by paragraph review of the book. And then the third is Frank Herbert's Dune. And I really liked the original book. Now, I didn't like the others. And the same is true in The Godfather. And yeah, there are those other books T.H. White wrote about Arthur. I still think the Book of Merlin is the best of the 5. You'll find in the Once and Future King, the 4 books, and there's the Book of Merlin is that kind of 5th that shows up in 1975. Those 3 books I consider modern classics: Sword and the Stone, Godfather, and Dune. And since we're now, let's just slide over until the rest of my career. I would say, do I have a good cut? Yeah. So in my world of athletics, the original track and field Omni book, the one I first got when I was a 9th grader, Tommy Kono's book, Weightlifting Olympic Style, and then to pick one, my favorite nutrition book. This sounds weird. Barry Eastbrook's Just Eat, which is a much more modern book. I just love the way he explains diet. So in my world, those would be the 3. Denise's book, Who Can Forget? Surviving the Food Pyramid or something like that, I would put in there. I'm looking over here, and there's a lot of great books over there. Boy, I'm skipping Purposeful Primitive. I'm skipping Stu McGill's work. I'm skipping, John Jesse. But those would be the ones that are the easy reads, fun to read books that would really make life easier for all of us. That's a good question, Trevor. I really, really appreciate it. And anytime somebody asks me to review books or movies or anything, that's always good. Keeps my head above water here a little bit. All right, let's move on. Good question.